Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to launch this free IELTS reading question types course, which is going to be available for free on YouTube. So our first lesson is true, false, not given questions. My lessons are going to be question types based, and at the beginning, I will be giving you some tips and strategy to tackle these question types, and then I'm gonna be doing that one passage with that specific question type. So let's begin. Our first lesson is gonna be about true false not given questions. True false not given questions are one of the most common question types in IELTS reading, and these question types are always in order. This is something that you need to remember. It is always in order, and usually you have true false not given questions in passage 1 or passage 2. Usually you're not going to have them in passage 3. In passage 3, you're gonna usually have yes, no, not given questions. Our second lesson is gonna be about yes, no, not given questions. But usually you're gonna be expecting true, false, not given questions passage in passages 1 and 2. Okay, so now it is so important that we can easily distinguish between true, false, and not given. So this is something that you see in all true, false, not given questions. True if the statement agrees with the information. What does that mean? If the passage says that it is true or right, then it's gonna be true. If the passage agrees with the information. What about false? False is if the statement contradicts the information when that information is wrong, which means that you can correct that information based on the passage. You can correct that information based on the passage because that information is wrong. What about not given? We can choose not given if there is no information on this. Usually, you're gonna have reference to something. For example, if the question is, he went to the garden, there is gonna be a reference to garden, but there is not gonna be a reference to him going there. You're gonna have some sort of a reference to that, but there is not enough information to say that it is true or false. You don't really know whether it is true or not. You don't know. Okay, so the strategy that I usually use to distinguish them is if the question like uh, turn this, for example, this statement into a question. The statement is problems with Assyria led to the establishment of a number of Phoenician colonies. What I do is asking a question. Did problems of Assyria lead to the establishment of a number of Phoenician colonies? And if I answer yes, I'm going to choose true. If I answer false and no, then I'm going to choose false. But if I say I'm not really sure, or it could also be true, or it could also be false, then I'm going to choose not given. So when I encounter true false not given questions, the very first thing that I do is reading the questions and underlining keywords, and I also pay attention to unchangeable keywords because they unchangeable keywords are like names of places, titles, because they cannot be paraphrased, and it's so easy to find the specific location. And the next thing that I do is going to the passage and reading from the beginning. Like usually you have at least one answer in each passage. So yeah, let's begin doing a practice. And now I'm gonna show you how I do it, and yeah, you can see how easily it's gonna be. Problems with Assyria. Here, Assyria is unchangeable keyword. It cannot be paraphrased, and whenever I see it, it's gonna be easy to find the location. Led to the establishment of a number of Phoenician, I'm not sure if I'm spelling it correctly, colonies. And the other thing, don't worry if you can't correctly spell. It's better not to pronounce these sorts of hard words. Phoenicial, this is also an unchangeable keyword. It cannot be paraphrased. There is no synonym of it. So problems led to the establishment. Okay. The next question, Carthage. This is also a name of a place in my opinion. This is also unchangeable keyword, so important. Was an enemy town which the Phoenicians won in battle. Okay. And they won in battle. Phoenicians reached the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is unchangeable keyword. It's not. It's like it's impossible to paraphrase it. Parts of Phoenicia were conquered. Conquered means defeated by a series of empires. Okay. The Phoenicians welcome it. Roman control. In my opinion, Roman is also unchangeable keyword. Roman control of the area. Okay. So now let's go to the passage. When you find Asteria, you're gonna stop there and then go to the question. Okay. The trading and seafaring skills of the Phoenicians resulted in a network of colonies spreading westwards through the Mediterranean. The first was probably Citium in Cyprus, established in the 9th century BC, but the main expansion came from the 8th century BC onwards when pressure from Assyria. So here we have Assyria, right? An unchangeable keyword that we had in question number 9, right? To the east disrupted the patterns of trade on the Phoenician coast. So identifying those unchangeable keywords were so important for us, and now we can we actually easily found the location, right? So so the main expansion, like the establishment of those towns, came from the 8th century BC onwards. And that time was when pressure from Assyria to the east disrupted the patterns of trade, right? So there were problems, like, and the problems were the east disrupted the patterns of trade. This was the problem, and this led to the main expansion. Yeah. Now let's go to the question and ask ourselves: did problems with Assyria lead to the establishment of a number of uh, financial colonies? Yes. So the answer is going to be true here. True. Now let's continue reading. Trading colonies were developed on the string of islands in the center of the Mediterranean. Crete, Sicily, Malta, Sardinia, Ibiza, and also on the coast of North Africa. The African colonies clustered means being together, like living there. Yeah, in particular around the Great Promontory, which with Selassie opposite which forms the narrowest channel on the main Mediterranean sea route. This is the site of Carthage. Yeah, Carthage was the largest of the towns founded by Phoenicians on the North African coast, and it rapidly assumed a leading position among the neighboring colonies. So we had an unchangeable keyword Carthage in question number 10, and what the passage is saying is that it was the largest of the towns and it was founded by the Phoenicians, right? This town, which was the largest of the towns, was founded by, well, founded means establish it, create it, or something like that. Like, yeah, establish it, founded by Phoenicians. Let's go to the questions. Uh, Carthage was an enemy town which the Phoenicians won in battle. Was it an enemy town which they won in battle? No, right? They did not won in battle. It was actually founded by Phoenicians. So it's contradicting the information, right? So the answer is false. False. Okay, so let's continue. The traditional date of its founding is 814 BC, but archaeological evidence suggests that it was probably settled a little over a century later. The subsequent spread and growth of Phoenician colonies in the western Mediterranean and even out to the Atlantic coasts of Africa and Spain was as much the achievement of Carthage as of the original Phoenician trading cities such as Tyre and Sidon. So, five initial colonies like spread and grew to out to the Atlantic coast, right? So, far initial colonies actually reached even the Atlantic coasts of Africa and Spain. So now let's go to the question. Did they reach the Atlantic Ocean? Yes, right? So the answer for question number 11 is true. True. So, yep, let's continue. But no doubt links were maintained with the homeland and new colonists continued to travel west. From the 8th century BC, many of the coastal cities of Phoenicia came under the control of a succession of imperial powers, each of them defeated and replaced in the region by the next. First Assyrians, then the Babylonians, Persians, and Macedonian Greeks. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I mean, so the cities, many of coastal cities of Phoenicia came under the control of a succession of imperial powers. Imperial powers is empires, and so these imperial powers defeated many of the coastal cities of Phoenicia, right? Imperial powers, those empires, conquered many of the cities of Phoenicia. Uh, like first they conquered Assyrians, then Babylonians, then Persians, then Macedonian Greeks. So now let's go to the question. Were parts of Phoenicia conquered by a series of empires? Yes. So the answer is true. Uh, Empires means imperial powers. Conquered means came under the control of. So yeah, parts of Phoenicia means many of the coastal cities. So yep, let's continue. In 64 BC, the area of Phoenicia became part of the Roman province. So now we have Roman, which is unchangeable keyword, province of Syria. The Phoenicians as an identifiable people then faded from history, merging into the populations of modern Lebanon and northern Syria. Let's turn this into a question. Did Phoenicians welcome Roman control of the area? We don't really know, right? It could also be true, it could also be false. Like, there is not enough information to say that. So, the answer for question number 13 is not given. Not given. If you found the video helpful and useful, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, comment below, and share.